Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at installing and of course dyno testing the Bama RevX tuner with two custom tunes available for the 17 and 18 5-liter F-150. Now before we jump into the details of the two tunes from Bama as well as the features of the RevX, what do you say we head right on over to the dyno graph to take a look at results? As you can see, we've got our 1850 strapped down, so let's see how it did. So we strapped our 2018 5-liter F-150 down to the dyno to establish a baseline run before tuning it to our Bama 93 octane. Keep in mind guys, it's got 35-inch all-terrains on it, it's got 93 octane in the tank, and we did do our pull in 5th gear as opposed to the 7th gear 1-to-1 ratio. Now, to establish our baseline run, we walked away with 325 horsepower and 334 pound-feet of torque at the rear wheels. We then, of course, uploaded our 93 tune from Bama and ran it again under the same conditions, walked away with 341 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque at the rear wheels. Good for peak gains of 16 horsepower and 16 torque at the rear. Now, under the curve, it gets even better. We're seeing curve gains of as much as 39 horsepower and 54 torque, and we're seeing those at the rear wheels at the low to mid range, right around 3,700 RPMs. And guys, that's exactly where you want this to be on these big trucks. Especially with larger wheels and tires, it can start to feel sluggish, so getting this additional torque down low to the mid-range is really going to make a difference in drivability and acceleration. Diving in deeper to the two tunes from Bama and the RevX here, let's start with those tunes. Now you'll be given an 87 octane and a higher 93 performance tune from Bama, which will give you a little bit of the best of both worlds. Now the 87 tune is a great option for daily drivers or weekend warriors just looking for a little bit extra out of their vehicle on their commute to work, making the ride a little bit more enjoyable. Now we know that these trucks can feel a little bit sluggish at times, hitting those higher gears in the 10-speed pretty quickly, so just adding that custom tune can make the shifts a lot firmer, a lot more precise, and it gives you a little bit more torque at the top end to reduce some of that sluggishness. Now we know when we have the bigger wheels and tires like the 35-inch all-terrains that we have on our 18, it can really start to exacerbate that sluggish feel. That 87 tune will definitely help with throttle response and acceleration. Now, if you're really looking to maximize performance, whether it be stock, mildly modified, or heavily modified under the hood, the 93 tune is really going to give you the most out of your vehicle, and that's what you saw on the dyno there. Bama's taking a number of things into consideration with the factory fuel strategies, things like timing, spark, air-fuel ratio, the drive-by-wire delay. Now, if you're not familiar with the wire delay, essentially what that means is there's a delay between the time you hit your gas and the time your truck gets going. By reducing or even eliminating that delay with your truck in the custom tune, you're going to feel a lot more alive, especially coming off the red light. Now with the tunes included in this kit, you're also automatically enrolled in the Bama Free Tunes for Life program. Now what that essentially means is anytime that you want to modify or change anything about your tune, you can get it rewritten and revised and sent to you from Bama for free for the lifetime that you have your device and your vehicle paired. So that's a huge value. That means anytime you add a cold air intake, anytime you add a catback or some headers or really any power adder, you can get the tune rewritten to include that for free to maximize its performance. So it goes a long way. Now, aside from that, the RevX has a number of other features you want to take advantage of. The DTC code reader comes in handy when the check engine light comes on the dashboard. We all know that we hate that damn light, so when it comes on, plug this guy in, you can read the code, get a description, and you can clear the code to get the check engine light off of your dashboard. That eliminates the need for any other OBD2 module or taking it to AutoZone or wherever you've been taking it. Do it yourself in the driveway. Now aside from that, there's also a gauges and data log screen. You can monitor live engine vitals on the fly at your fingertips here, watching things like air-fuel ratio, coolant temp, intake air temp, and a number of other options. As a matter of fact, you can watch up to 8 options at once on your gauge screen, and you can change that gauges to your personal preference. There's a number of options to look at and a number of different styles to look at it with. You can use it in portrait and landscape mode as well. You can data log your vehicle and record its performance, communicating that back to Bama, which can come in handy when it comes to revisions. You can improve upon those tunes by using your data log feature here. Now, you can also get Wi-Fi access for wireless updating, cloud capabilities for wireless transfers of data logs and tune files to and from Bama Performance. All of that's built into this device. Now you can get this guy for just around $430, and the install is going to get 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Anybody can tackle this in the driveway at home with about 30 minutes from start to finish. I'm going to walk you through the entire process, including how to tune your vehicle, and then I'll show you guys those features I just mentioned. So what do you say we get started? First things first here, guys, grab your RevX device and the OBD2 harness included in the kit. The first thing we're going to do is take the OBD2 end and plug it into that port located under the driver's side dashboard. Now if you look at your e-brake here, go straight to the right and then follow it down. You'll be able to find that guy, plug it straight in, The other end goes right into the top of the RevX device. Now we can hop in and get to work. All right, so once you have your device plugged in, I'm gonna leave it right here on our steering wheel to show you guys the process here for tuning your vehicle. So right from the main menu, you'll have program vehicle, gauges, data log, vehicle functions, vehicle info, and device settings. You wanna select program vehicle to actually flash a tune. Confirm your VIN number, press confirm. From here, right out of the box, your device will probably need to be updated. We've already updated ours. If you haven't done so already, you want to go over and press continue. Now, for that, you will need to connect to Wi-Fi, so be within range of a Wi-Fi network. Again, we've already taken care of it, so we're going to select skip. If you've already updated yours, you can do that as well. All right, so while we did do a software update, we're now doing a firmware update on our device, which sometimes can happen right after the software. So allow it to load 0 to 100 as many times as it needs. Looks like 2 updates is what's happening here, and then we'll move into tuning. All right, so once it's complete, you can press OK. Internet required. Again, you'll need to connect to a Wi-Fi network. At this point, it would prompt you to connect to Wi-Fi. Now ours is already connected, so it should just verify files and move forward. All right, now at this point, the RevX does have cloud capabilities. So if your tuner, in this case Bama, sent you your tune file on the cloud instead of it via email, you'll be able to press continue, sync the tune from the cloud to your device, and then move forward with flashing. Now ours is physically loaded to the device via email, so we're gonna hit skip, but that all depends on how it was sent to you from Bama. Now, street use, you're gonna press continue. Make sure your key is in the on position and press continue again. At this point, you'll be able to select your tune. Now you may have multiple from your tuner. We're only focusing on the 93 Performance, or otherwise known as 93 Race tune. So that's the only thing we have loaded in the custom tunes section of this menu. Now, if you want to select your 87 tune, you can do that now as well. It just depends on what you either pulled from the cloud or loaded to the device via email on your computer. So we're going to select 93 Performance. There are additional options to change in the tune. I'll select change just to show you guys what that looks like. So let's hit change again. You have spark, axle ratio, tire revs per mile, speed limiter, rev limiter. So many different options here that you can play with. If you do not want to edit any of these, you don't have to. We're actually going to leave all of these the same and just go with the tune that was sent to us. All right, so we're going to hit continue. All right, so as you can see at this point, it's applying options, which basically means it's applying any of those changes that you made to the tune, compiling that together. From here, it will move into saving your stock tune to the device. So anytime you want to revert back to your factory Ford tune, you can do so right on the device using the same menu options. Return to stock will appear once it's been flashed to aftermarket. And then from there, it will move in to actually flash the vehicle. During this process, of course, you don't want to unplug the device or turn the key off unless it's prompting you to do so on the screen. Sometimes it may tell you to turn the key off and then press continue and then back on and press continue. So if it does that, follow those directions, but if not, let it do its thing. All right, so once it moves into the next phase, it's gonna write the tune, which will be, again, loading 0 to 100. The lights on the dash may turn off. Just make sure you're not turning your key off. Just follow the instructions on the screen. Don't unplug your device, and we'll come back when it's done. All right, so here we're being told to turn the key off, and then wait for instruction, back on, same thing. All right, and there you have it, programming complete. You can hit done, takes you right back to the main menu. All right, so next I want to take you through some of the RevX's features here aside from programming vehicle. Under that, you'll see gauges and data log. Now this is going to be a good screen for the guys who want to monitor live engine vitals on the fly at all times. All you'll have to do is make sure the key is on, press continue. All this is going to do is really connect to your ECU, give you your configuration property or vehicle, and it'll track as many of these as you'd like at the same time. Now you can track up to 8 of them, and they're all interchangeable. So right from the default here, we have all 8 displayed. They're little gauges, 4 on each side going vertically. So what you can do is, let's make it a little bit easier to read. You can go to the right here, we can go to select gauge layout, you can change what this guy will look like. So let's go with something very simple. We'll just track 2 gauges at once, a lot bigger and easier to read. So we have boost in PSI up top, control module voltage on the bottom. But say we don't want control module voltage. We'll select that guy, change the item. Say we want to track intake air temperature instead. Select it, go over and hit approve, and it replaces that gauge. So it's super easy to use, it's very responsive, and there's a lot to choose from. So if we didn't just want 2 options, you go to the right, go down to gauge layout. You already saw 8. You can track 2, 3, 4, there's 5 here, 6, and then 8. So let's see 4. And there you have it. And again, you can change any of these to whatever you want out of the list menu. Now, if you wanted to record a data log, you can start record data. That'll record the engine's performance, and you can communicate that back to your tuner, or you can just have it for your records, and that can be saved directly onto the device, and it can be communicated back into the cloud. So we can hit stop data log, and it'll take us back to the main menu. Now under that, there's vehicle functions, read DTC and clear. Now DTC is the diagnostic trouble code, your check engine light. If that guy comes on, you can plug this device in, go to this menu, read the code, you can clear the code, and then special functions, most people won't touch, things like cam relearned. So what we're gonna do is go back to the main menu. Finally, we have vehicle info, which will give you your VIN number and ECU strategy code, along with some of the other vehicle parameters. Device info is gonna be software and firmware versions, your married status, how many unlocks you have left with the device. So say you wanna use this device, but on a different vehicle, you can have it unlocked from the vehicle that you have. Every time you return the vehicle to stock, it unlocks it from the device. You can then pair it to a new vehicle, and you have up to 5 different times you can do that. And that information will be stored in device info. Now, device settings here has things like check for update and Wi-Fi, which kind of go hand in hand. If you're in range of a Wi-Fi network, you can connect to that and get wireless updates to the device. Anytime SCT puts out a software update, it's good to check here. Now, cloud file sync is something unique to the RevX as opposed to the X4 option. Basically, this makes things wireless. If you're getting tune revisions, if you're sending or receiving data log files, you can do it all wirelessly via the cloud. And again, you'll need Wi-Fi access for this, but that'll eliminate the need to plug it into a laptop or computer. You can upload, again, data log to the cloud. You can also upload your stock file to the cloud to save. And then there's regular settings like the brightness and day and night mode. You can change your theme. Default is dark red, but you can change it to light blue. There's also light red, just really simple things to customize it to your own liking. And then finally, there is a little beep here. When you hit a button, you can change that, turn that off. Finally, the start function that I think is going to be most important for guys here in the device settings menu is the startup mode. So you can have it immediately load up to the gauges and data log menu if you find yourself using that more often than not. Now, if you are, you may be picking up a windshield mount or a vent gauge mount to mount this guy within arm's reach. If that's the case, I'd recommend turning this on. That way, you can just leave it plugged in at all times, and as soon as you turn your vehicle on and load this up, it immediately goes to gauges. So I think that's really useful. Then you can head right back to the main menu, and that's your RevX device. Well guys, that's gonna wrap up my review and install for the Bama RevX by SCT tuner with 2 custom tunes for the 17 to 18 5-liter F-150. If you wanna pick this up, as well as be automatically enrolled for the free Tunes for Life program, you can get it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.